block, was there an adjustment that needed to be made or missed? And collectively, the special teams on Saturday, given how involved you are, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it was a missed assignment. You're supposed to block two. When you don't block two, something bad happens. And we had some, because of injuries and a lot of young players, that was this first rep in the game rep, so we did not do a good job preparing them. But no, it wasn't like an overload or something like that. The guy just supposed to block him, and he didn't block him. So that was a bad start. The way that game started, we called a deep shot to Devin Smith to start the game. We missed a block, and he was behind him by about 15 yards. And we got pressured. And then 2 plays later, we jog out the punt team at 7-0. I think they missed a field goal or something. And so not the way you'd like to start that kind of game. The kickoff, their pooch kickoff, it landed a couple yards behind our tackle. And you stand there and catch it. And you got to put on the tip sheet, catch the ball if it's kicked to you. In all seriousness, that's a major error, and we just got to cover it. And I guess we have to do a better job getting that ready. What was the other one? He gave a kickoff out to the 20-yard line, ran into a punter. Yeah, it was a bad day for special teams. We have to get it fixed. We're playing, I think, 6 or 7 true freshmen are starting on kickoff right now. It's probably too many. I'm going to readjust that and take a look at it. Just trying to get some of those young guys in the game a little bit.
Right front, Dave.
Dave Wilson, 10 TV, or Wilcox, whichever. Over the last 4 games, each game you guys have run fewer offensive plays than the week before. How big of a concern is that? Because obviously you need plays to score points.
Well, we need plays and we need drives. You know, I saw a stat somewhere where we had 10 drives over 70 yards or something. And last year they had all 9. You know, that's you should have 10 in a freaking game. You know, I mean, at some point we'll do that around here, and we didn't have that. So very disappointed. So I mean, yeah, is that a concern? Was your question? The answer is yes. And it's a combination of getting off the field on 3rd downs on defense when we got them backed up, and sustaining drives on offense. I know that's rather obvious, but it is a concern.
Now that you've had a chance to watch the tape, analyze it, do you feel better about where you are as a team heading into the Big Ten season, or do you see?
I do. I did something yesterday where I want our focus on MSU, on a team that we better put all our focus on, and so I just put together a reel of 4 drives, and it was about as well done as we played all year. And I'm talking about players that are heading into graduate level football, like holding in a 5-man pressure, the quarterback being able to hold one of the underneath droppers, as opposed to panicking and not setting your feet, and which I saw our quarterback do many times as he's in his during maturity. Does that make sense? If he's feeling pressure, there's underneath droppers, you still have to hold him but throw to Philly Brown. He did that with it. You know, seeing Reed Fragel, we call it wedge 90, where you're blocking a zone block, the guy disappears and you work up to the next level. Those are all graduate level things, high level, that normally, you know, at some point we'll have a graduate level offense. We don't have that right now. I did that more for me, I think. You know, I have to eat lunch. I wasn't about to eat lunch after what I saw. And so I said, you know what, put together 4 good drives for me. And the one thing about this team, when it's time to go win a game, to date, they've gone and won a game. But that's, I mean, we are what we are right now, and that's just a workmanlike team that has to get better.
Tim May, Columbus Dispatch. Urban, you went up against Nick Saban a few times when he was at Alabama. You were at Florida. You remember those, I'm sure. Do you see any similarities with him and D'Antonio's defense, and what are the kind of the common traits between those?
Commitment to stop the run. I think coaching against Coach Saban he's a little more complicated in a pass defense, but very similar. You know, pro style, pound you on offense. Very similar. I didn't think about it, but very similar type mentality. Very sound kicking game, which they do.
Dave Biddle, Bucknuts. Urban, if Michael Bennett's unable to play this week, how much thought did you give to redshirting possibly?
I didn't even know he did. Yeah, I did hear that he had a redshirt. We're not thinking redshirting at this point, but I think everything indication is he's going to play. If he doesn't, then I'll address that. But if he plays, he plays.
Barnett and Roby, looks like they'll play this week, or too early to tell?
Probable on both. I'd say probable. I'll give you an update. They ran around yesterday. Roby's got a shoulder, and Barnett, CJ's got an ankle. I saw CJ earlier. I saw them both earlier today, and they're bright-eyed, ready to go and get treatment. So I'd say probable at this point. We need them, obviously. Hyde is very probable. So pretty close to cleared.
Doug Landry's a playing dealer. Given that about Carlos, what can you envision for the run game with Jordan and Carlos then potentially both in a game for the first time this year? And where do you think your run game would be then?
Well, there's a strong commitment for this team we're playing to stop the run. Like the whole defense is there to stop the run. So we're going to have to be very efficient and not just beat your face against the wall and do things that we can do. So Carlos, Jordan Hall, and Braxton Miller, we have to find a way to get some yards running the ball. And it's going to have to be some creative stuff, because to turn around and hand the ball off, I think we tried that last year a little bit and it went reverse. You know, it's a very good defense against the run. So we're going to have to be very efficient, and that means we don't want to waste time.
Carlos and Jordan be on the field together?
Working on that right now. I just actually put together a little drawing on the board with both of them in there. So I think that's what you want. We want those guys in there.
Middle back, Jeff.
Jeff Sabota, Buckeye Sports Bulletin. 2 weeks ago, there was talk about how you kind of challenged your wide receivers going up against Cal's pretty good cornerbacks. We had some more thing this week going against Adams and Denard. How good are they compared to what you've seen so far?
Very good corner. I think Adams is a very good player. Probably as good as the guy that, Devin did answer that challenge a little bit. He made a couple really good plays. But very good, and there's no secret what they're doing. They walk up on you and say, I got you, and the other 10 guys go stop something else. So the challenge will be there again, and that's, for us to move the ball on offense, that's going to be a big part of what we have to do.
Middle left, Doug.
Doug Harris, DTL News. Urban, I know you just focus on winning the game, but have you noticed the Big Ten this year? It's been kind of down and generating some criticism about the conference. What have you seen from your perspective?
I can only compare it to, what's the strongest conference. I have a lot of experience in one, and I can tell you this defense we're getting ready to play would be in the top couple of that conference. That tells you the quality of player number one, and then they do a good job on defense. So I have not had, I've just watched what I watch, and that's the first 4 games, which we're in a whole lot of Big Ten teams, so I always like to save my judgment until we get playing. But all I know is this team we're getting ready to play is what I'm used to seeing on defense the last 7 years or 6 years.
Middle left, David.
Dave Briggs, Toledo Blade. You mentioned Reed Fraley coming along. Where is the line overall, in your opinion? I know that the team gave up 9 sacks to Michigan State last year. I know it's different teams, but how well do you feel like they're prepared for this year?
Getting better. Nowhere near what we expect. That's the message I had for the team yesterday, was there's a lot of things are going to change as we continue to grow. One thing that will not change is the expectation level, and that's to lead the Big Ten in offense and eventually lead the country in offense. That's our goal. I'm not saying when that will happen, if it will happen, but our expectation level won't change. And so our offense line's the apex, or the part that controls that, and right now we're not playing at that level. So am I disappointed? Absolutely. Do I understand the growth and tight end that has just been moved, and 3 returning starters, and all the other excuses that I've heard and will continue to hopefully not hear? Yeah, but they're much improved, especially that 5th guy. Once we get that 5th guy playing, Reed, and we only got him for 8 more games or whatever it is, but it's nice to see him make that improvement.
Lori Schmidt, 97.1 The Fan. Kind of going off that, you keep those expectations so high. How do you at the same time keep it so that your guys aren't afraid to make a mistake? Because A.T. and Sabino said he thought maybe they were trying to be too perfect, and that's why they're tentative.
I've heard that. I'd rather, that's fine. That's called maturity, and go through it, as opposed to, I'd much rather have a team trying to play, as opposed to, hey, I missed my gap or whatever. So I've heard that before, and we demand, I don't want to say demand perfection, because we don't. We demand guys attempting to get perfection, and we won't change that. And especially Sabino, who is a grown man, and trusted his comments. Is that something that I have to emphasize? It's called coaching. Make sure they understand if you make a mistake, that's fine. Just make sure you're making it real fast. And we're not doing that's one of the issues I have right now. Even when we make a mistake, it's not point A to point B. It's making a mistake.
Rusty Miller, AD, you've expressed concerns just about the defense. How does the challenge of Le'Veon Bell step that up even more?
Well, they're gonna. It's once again, if it turns into a 200-yard rushing day where they just knock you into next week, then we're gonna lose the game. So I think our defense is kind of built for this. It's not built for sideline to sideline dink and dunks. So that's a challenge. The conversation I have with our defensive staff as well. But your question was very easy to answer. That is a huge concern. That is the concern on that side of the ball. But they got a really good tight end. I guess he used to play basketball. I was watching him. Really big guy, athletic, and can make plays. So we have to. And those wideout. I mean, I was hoping I didn't see what I saw, and it's not because of lack of athleticism at receiver.
Said that they had planned on going after the first punt, and that they were going to block it and score a touchdown. Did he see something in the scheme? Or no?
We changed the scheme. Block that guy. He didn't block that guy. He said that, huh?
Yeah. They were coming after the first block and they were going to score a touchdown.
Keep moving.
Matt McCoy, WTVA.
They did a very nice job.
This is the first 4 games you've been home, confined to the stadium. First time this team is going on the road. Speak of that challenge, and also, is there, and I know every game's important, but is there any difference, any different feel this week that it's Big Ten season?
I'm hoping there is. I saw a little bit last night, but our whole focus on Sunday is victory meal and enjoy the win, and let's correct some errors and move on. And that's what it is. When they start rolling in today, and then obviously tomorrow is going to be the preparation days. But I do feel a little different pepper in the step. I would expect this is a rivalry game. This is a game that's going to have an instrumental impact on the Big Ten Conference. So I feel it. And plus, going on the road, I think going on the road is sometimes overrated. I think it's the quality opponent when you go on the road. Going on the road against a team that you're far superior than, that's not a big deal. Going on the road against this outfit, this is a significant challenge for us.
Clay All ABC 6, Fox 28. Coach, you talked about they're going to force you to pass the football. Are you good enough now to tweak your plan, make a new plan, come at them with some new stuff?
I think so, and then also utilize. Our guys are. Devin didn't play particularly well Saturday, but he's a guy that he's our down the field shot guy. I think the game would have been a whole different ball game if we protect better on that first play. He runs right by him. I'm feeling much better about our quarterback. If you notice, his fundamentals are much improved than it was from day one to day, whatever it is. You can see in the highlight just when you talk about. We always talk about the stripe of his helmet. I'm going to throw the ball over here. You just can't stare there all the time. And he's doing a very good job. And Tom Herman, it's really, that's really good. It's fun to watch. Go watch a highlight of the couple of passes he threw. His stripe of his helmet's this way, and he sets his feet and throws. That's the trust between him and the wideout, and it's also just his growth as a quarterback.
Changed the play 20 times, is that right?
Changed the play.
Audibles on Saturday?
This past week, yeah, we changed him a bunch. I don't know if it's 20, but there was a bunch of times he walked up and changed the play and did a good job. He's going to execute better.
Bill Livingston, plain dealer. You sort of answered that, but this was Braxton's second start last year, and he looked pretty overwhelmed. How far did you see that? I'm sure you saw that game. Could you compare him now to then?
I've just watched I'm not going to watch the game. I've watched a lot of the cut-ups of the game. And what I mean by that, Bill, is you watch the formation, and then you watch it down the distance. You don't have time to watch the whole game. But yeah, it did look a little, and we came out trying to throw a little bit and had a bunch of sacks. And the defense forces you to do that. So Braxton, yeah, he was. You said that was his second start. Yeah, he's come a long way.
The traditional goal in this program has been to win the Big Ten. ineligible for the championship game, do you restate or redefine that goal in any way?
Well, we did. First time we talked about that was yesterday in our team State of the Union meeting we had, and that was that you have an opportunity to go win your side of the Big Ten. So that is a goal, and that was not a goal when you're playing UAB, Miami, and Central Florida, and Cal. It's a goal now, and that's why we addressed it. So are we playing for something? You're darn right we are, and that's really important around here. Look around, really important.
Back left, Jared. Jared Small, NBC4. Back to Le'Veon a little bit. We had a chance to watch him here locally, growing up, playing high school football. And how have you seen him? I know you haven't watched him probably a lot. I think you might have had a game of his last year on commentary, I think. But I'm just curious of what you see in him that makes him a unique threat.
He reminds me of Ron Dane, even a little more athletic. He's a guy that extremely strong, powerful guy that times up his blocks very well and runs through tackles. And then you see athleticism that usually people that size don't have. To tell you his athleticism, he returns punts as well. You know, might be the biggest punt returner in history of college football. Bob, you can do a study on that for us. A 250-pound punt returner. I mean, you have to be in. Just think about that for a second. Go back and catch punts.
Middle, Bob.
Bob Hunter, Corners Dispatch. You said you put together those drives, which I assume meant that you wanted to kind of pick up your spirits. How did you feel before that, or Saturday night, say? Did you?
Terrible. Terrible. I think coaches have a tendency. We all expected to play better. I thought we had a clean game plan. I thought we had a very good Friday. You know, I just like to evaluate Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're getting to learn how to practice better on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and that's how I judge if a team's ready. I felt good about our plan. It wasn't chaotic. It was very clean. The defense we saw wasn't going to be chaotic like the other games, and it was very disappointed that we didn't play better. And then you watch 4 drives, and you feel like, okay, we do get it. People are stepping with the right foot. You know, our right tackle, who has not played like a right tackle for Ohio State, is playing like one. You see a quarterback that, you know, in the spring practice, when we were throwing the ball over here, the whole world knew he was thrown over there, and he's doing a good job. So I'm seeing enough improvement that he gets you real excited. And I know the way I felt, and that's right when we finished watching that drive, I said, run those, you know, I had our staff, offensive staff, said, do that again. And this was about noon, and the players are coming in at 3:30, and I said, that's all we're going to show them. So I want these guys with a great taste in their mouth, get ready to go play a big-time college football game. Now, that doesn't mean pull out a couple plays we have to get corrected. But let's have a good, positive week, and it was.
Far left, Dan.
Dan from the Lantern. Just given the issues that the special teams had of a couple plays on Saturday, what would you say the progress is of that unit in comparison to what your expectations were coming into the season?
Very good question, and expectation level, a lot like the other 2 phases, are not where we need to be. However, it's not because of like the scheme issue. It's because of maybe immaturity that we're forced, or I was playing some young players that weren't first time in a game, and here it is, and we locked up. So the concern is there. However, the try-harding, coaching, and the emphasis will be there, and we'll get better.
I believe you added a couple periods of tackling to try and get them short up last week in practice. Did you think that had a positive impact?
Sure.
Would you do that again this week?
We're going to do it again this week, and it did. It was not a finished product by all means, but it was much better than it was the week before. The aggressiveness of our back end of our defense right now is a little bit of a concern, and that's being discussed, and we have some thoughts on that for this week, because you have to. You know, you face those, you know, the teams that go silent, the dink and dunk, you know, it's a whole different ballgame than when it's this.
A couple weeks ago, you said that you wanted more pressure on the quarterback. Last week after the game, you said you preferred more tight coverage. How comfortable do you feel with the way the defense is a scheme is designed right now?
Well, very comfortable. That's not the scheme's not the issue right now. It's matching it to our personnel, who's in, who's out. You know, Durant Grant played really well. That's his first game. And the way that team, we went in that game, the way that team comes in here and beats Ohio State, we expected to play much better on special teams, much better on offense, was launching the ball down the field. And we didn't allow them to, so they didn't score a touchdown. We use the word painful because I know it was painful for the people watching. It was painful for me to watch too. However, at the end of the day, keep him out of the end zone. So we did. So I'm not worried about the scheme. I think once we get our personnel in there, I do believe we have to stress our corners a little bit more. And the problem is when you stress your corners, that means the linebacker has to play man coverage on someone. And we did that a couple times against Cal, and that was a problem. So you say make the corners play man, but there's 3 other receivers somewhere that you have to cover as well.
Curtis Grant is torn. I know did not play a snap on Saturday. Is that what's his?
I don't know that. You have to ask Luke about that.
Where's his development right now?
He's getting better. I mean, a year ago, I know he wasn't even in the plans, and now he's either starting or co-starting or playing. And I don't know why, if that's the case, true. That's something to ask Coach Fickle. But his development, he keeps coming.
Doug Lamry, playing dealer. If Roman's back healthy, could Jermaine Grant still start on the other side?
He sure could, especially after the way he played. But before Travis got dinged up too, he was playing at a very high level. He didn't play great Saturday, but yeah, absolutely. I think we three guys that can go play corner for us right now, and the guys that have the best week of practice will play.
Defensive player of the game a couple times, another productive game. Everybody knew he was a good player, but just what you've seen through the first 4 games, is it what you thought it would be, or is it?
With him, because he's such a quality person and a smart guy, that I think the sky's the limit. I don't think we've touched the where he can be. I think Mike Vrabel is really doing a nice job fundamentally, but he's still got some development to do, and when he does, I think he'll be one of the best players in the country.
Yeah, Tim May comes Dispatch. Urban, you and Rod Smith both missed or didn't make the plane trip to Jacksonville. You weren't going to, but he missed the plane. How far has he come from that moment or that episode to getting your trust, and then now we have the ball score a touchdown and stuff? And what were your conversations kind of like in January that kind of brought him around, you think?
Well, the conversations in January, you probably are not going to make it. It's probably best you move on and go play somewhere where you can play, because it's obviously not good enough to be here. And real honest communication. Had a talk with his father, who was a great guy. Came down and said, right in my office, and here's exactly where your son's at, and the option's there, and we'll sign the paper and move on. And he wanted to stay. He didn't do great as this spring went, moved on, did not have a great summer. And then something clicked these last few weeks. I mean, he's on a mission right now, and he's a good guy. I love Rod Smith. I love guys that turn it around. Now that's one game, but he earned that right to carry the football at Ohio State and score that touchdown. That wasn't a mop up. That wasn't. We had a very set 12 package, 1 back, 2 tight ends, and he was the back to go in that game. So, because there's guys lower, higher than he was, lower than most guys on this team. To see him rebound, his grades are doing well. He's got a good look about him. And that's called maturity, and it's happening.
Does he still have? Is he still in your plans, even
Absolutely.
though you're getting Carlos back this week?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. If he continues as is, he's in the plans for 7 more years too. He's a talented guy, but it's just how the family got involved. We do that a lot. If we see a young person that's there's got to be something going on that we're not aware of, And so I think Kavanaugh, because I have 2 girls in college, I want to know right now what's going on. And I think that's our obligation, and his dad and his family are fantastic.
Far left, Bill.
Barry Switzer said a long time ago when he had Jamel Holloway, he'd just say, go out there and make a play and beat Texas. You talked about Denard Robinson kind of beat this team last year. Does it sometimes just come down to, have you ever done anything like that?
Yeah, I did it Saturday. I've done it 3 games in a row. Come here, go win a game, pal. Yeah, it sounds like some Barry Switzer would say, and it's you break it down to a simplistic form, and that's get your best player to go win you a game, and he's playing at a very high level, and his response is what you'd expect from a great player.
Far left, Lori.
Coach, is it a compliment to say that it's a bend but don't break defense? And if not, why is it not okay to give up 500 yards with 0 points?
I think that's a very good question, because at the end of the day, your job is to go win a game. I'm not comfortable. We have a plan to win around here. You see the field position chart, and we make a big deal about once we pin them in there, keep them there, give us the ball back at midfield, and let's go. And that's not happening. We're having a lot of punt safe where we're getting the ball back on the 12-yard line. That's because we give up some yards, but we're not giving up the home run yards. So I am not personally, that's not how I want Ohio State defense to be played for our careers. However, I do understand injury issues. I do understand when a team comes rolling in here with good athletes at receiver and they're not going to be systematically beat Ohio State. So there's a lot of reasons, but your question is I think that's a question of a lot of people. And a lot of coaches have that same discussion. And at the end of the day, keep them out of the end zone. And that's where we're at right now.
Last question, Dave, far left.
Coach Dave Metzel, 610 WTVN. After 4 games, there's starting to be a little chatter now about expectations versus reality in this team. I don't know if the expectations were realistic going in, but or how much you pay attention to that. But how much of this start is not surprising to you? You've used terms like average football team, and we need to work on this, and need to work on that. Is there any aspect of being where you are right now that's not surprising to you, given where you were when you started?
I thought we'd be further ahead. I was well aware of our shortcomings. I didn't foresee an injury to one of our defensive ends. I didn't foresee that you missed 2 defensive backs. I thought we'd be a little more aggressive in certain areas, but I wasn't aware of any, all the, like you said. I know Ohio State, and there's all kinds of expectations here. And I'm not giving up. I think by the end of the year, this might be a hell of a football team. I mean, it might be sooner than that. There's some people got to make some choices, and we got to do a better job in a lot of areas, and we got to get some young players experience, which we're doing. We're playing more freshmen than any school in America, and so sometimes that looks awful at times, but it's our job to coach them through that and get them to be sophomores real fast. And so that's where we're at. So I still think we have potential to be a hell of a football team. By the end of the year, I think people will be thinking, saying great things about Ohio State. I really do, if we continue to grow and mature. Thank you guys.